I was too busy raising my kids to realize what was happening.
Certain rooms in the house were off limits.
I would go over and you'd see like 30 boxes covered with a sheet. And I was like, what's that? He's like, it's nothing.
We don't tell anybody about this.
That was it for 40 years.
I had to escape. I remember seeing a therapist and I finally let it out. My husband has comics.
My father got the first solo issue of Superman from 1939. It was locked away for decades. We found out that was the second nicest copy of that book on the planet. That book could easily go for $3 to $4 million. I inherited over 1 million collectibles.
What's that box value then?
80 to 90,000. Just right here. My father had Asperger's, but not knowing it caused a lot of friction. It seems like ultimate fixation and hoarding. He kept collecting and needed more space and more space and more space.
You have no idea how oppressive he can be.
He was constantly neurotic about the security of the collection. We have each of them humidity controlled, climate controlled, multiple layers of security. He would have thought that was cool.
I'm sure his father loved him, but I don't know if Darren truly felt it. Nothing Darren did was ever good enough.
He made life livable, but not worth living. I divorced. I said, I don't want any part of them.
If I wasn't around, there would be a big dumpster outside and she would just throw them in. Actually, she'd recycle them. We have no idea what's in that box.
Oh, wow, I need that.
Okay.
Yeah, I need that too.
Where do we go from here? That's the question, right?
Comics are super valuable and they're booming. Why? Hollywood.
We're just still seeing the rise of the comics.
Who would pay this much money for such a book? It's fascinating.
I'd sell it. You want to give me $3.5 million for that comic? Bye-bye.
There is a little bit of a responsibility to make sure some of this stuff is preserved. This stuff survived world wars, depressions, cultural differences, racial realizations, women's rights. Everything is reflected in these stories. I want to work with people that want to be involved in sharing it.
We're gonna put so many of these books in the right hands that people are gonna lose their
It'd be amazing to have some of these key books end up with like the biggest fan of Superman or the biggest fan of Batman. How do we find those people?
Clearly, trust is a huge thing. Well, what if we pick them up and blindfold them? If I say something offensive, it will be cut out, right?
It'll be very interesting, the kind of people that we deal with along the way and what their intentions are for acquiring some of these collectibles.
One of my buddies came by, he saw the books in the hatchback, and he's like, oh, hatchback comics.
Kid and the dad, I guess. I'm the hatchback dad.
The stuff in here is worthy of being in a safe like this.
What? Are you kidding me? Amazing Spider-Man 101, 9.8.
There's 4 copies of it there.
You need a new safe.
This is unbelievable. I did almost cry, not gonna lie.
I never got to look at one of those while he was alive, and I really wanted to. You'll remember this moment probably for the rest of your lives. Father and son, we wanted to create a family experience. How it should have been. We didn't know we had these two until you just witnessed it.
Having that excuse to get back together and go on a treasure hunt, what an amazing gift that is.
I wish my dad was here to see that.
Superman relies so heavily on the father-son relationship on so many levels.
It's not about the actual book, it's about what it means.
What do you do? Would you sell it?
It's the top of the mountain. I couldn't see ever letting go of something like that.
I just don't want to let my father down. With this collection, we're coming out.
I wouldn't sell it.
I would probably sell it.
You just can't.
What does that mean? I guess that's what we're going to find out on this journey. He was such a difficult prick, man. But, I mean, I did love him.